Shout out to G-Man Boxing.
All right, people. I want to do a video on Fury Chisora, and I just couldn't get up to do it because we all know what that fight is. We all know what that fight is. So I said, you know what? I need a laugh when I'm talking about this. I need banter. I need two good guests. John and Kaya love boxing TV. Look no further. What's the crack, lads? How are you doing?
Oh, mate, just doing really, really well. I don't know if I'm looking forward to the fight yet on the weekend, but there are other fights. I'm sure we're going to touch on those as well that are happening this weekend that I'm probably looking forward to more. But
Well, I agree.
I'll give you my thoughts. Right.
I agree with you. I am looking forward to the fight on the weekend. If that fight is Kelly versus Williamson, I'm very much looking forward to it. If it's the other one, well, then I disagree. I think it's the fight we all know. We all know. Fury Chisora. How did we get to this? Like, I just seen IFL share that it was 8 years ago today that Tyson Fury beat Chisora in the rematch. 8 years later, we are having a trilogy. And I still can't get my head around how this is even happening. It's on pay-per-view for a world title. With Chisora having won and very close, very could have lost that fight, one of his last 4 fights.
Yeah. John?
All right, I'll go. So I think it's because, look, we've got 2 sets of fans in boxing. We've got the casuals and you've got the hardcores. And for the casuals, they see War, Chisora, you know, he's rejuvenated his career, right? And then obviously Tyson Fury, they grab the sound bites, the stuff that he says, and like they believe it all. So, you know, if there's going to be 30,000, is there going to be 30,000 at Tottenham? I'll be surprised. I know when they opened up the tickets that they apparently they sold 50,000 like straight away, but I'll be surprised. I don't know if they've gone to StubHub or whatever secondary markets, but I'll be surprised if there's 30,000 there. But who are those 30,000 people? Because you couldn't pay me to go and watch it, and I would consider myself quite a hardcore boxing fan. But I know for me, it's the whole Tyson Fury. It's just, I think he's so good. If you followed our channel, Love Boxing TV, I'll give it a little quick plug. But if you followed our channel, you'll know I've said the whole time, I think that Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight of our era. And I even think if you put him in any of the other eras, he gives them all fits. He really does. And I think he's that good. But as you say, in the second fight that he had with Chisora, he just jabbed his head off. Every time it got close, he just tied him up. It was just easy work. And I think this is exactly how this fight's going to play out. So for the hardcores, like, we don't want this fight. We don't want to see it. We want to see you improve on your resume, because I think that's a bit questionable. You know, if you are the lineal champion, you know, whatever the greatest ever are, we want to see a better resume. So, but then you're looking at Chisora, what was he, lost 12 times? The second fight was easy. So I'm not really that interested. And just before I hand over, styles make fights. There's a 10-inch reach advantage for Tyson Fury. If he just keeps it long, keeps away from Chisora, he just comes in, doesn't he, throwing his hooks, trying to work the body. I think it's just an easy night work. He can just keep him at bay, tie him up. But let's see if they really are friends, because if they really are friends, I think he stops Chisora with a body shot. I know he's not known for really stopping people with body shots. I don't think he's going to go for the head trauma shot to take Chisora out, because I do think they're mates.
Really? Yeah. Is that what you think? You think he's going to have pity on him and not headhunt because he doesn't? I'm not having that.
I think they're mates. No, I'm
not having that. Look, in terms of Chisora as an opponent, I've made it quite clear on our channel, and we spoke about in depth with John as well, that I'm not hating on it as much as the hate that it's getting, you know, just widespread across social media, because it's like a process of elimination, really, with the heavyweights out there, right? So you're looking at Joshua, that couldn't be made. And I don't blame Fury for the Joshua fight not being made, by the way. I feel like Matchroom and Joshua, I don't know, did they kind of get out of that situation in a smart way? And was it more Joshua that didn't want that fight, or was it more Eddie Hearn that didn't want that fight? Because if Joshua takes another big L, the cash cow is just diminished completely, and there's no more money to rinse out of Joshua after that. So I feel like that was more Matchroom and Joshua that didn't want that fight. So you're looking at Fury and you're looking at potential opponents. Usyk has clearly said he wasn't ready. So then you're going through the list, and you know you're scratching your head, really.
Joe Joyce was ready, boy. Joe Joyce was ready.
Apparently he wasn't. I don't know. I don't know who to believe on that, because if you believe Tyson Fury, which is walking contradiction, you don't know whether to believe him or not. He's saying that Joe Joyce wasn't ready, but that would have been the perfect fight. Would have been Joe Joyce. Yeah.
You know what? I think that would have been perfect. And I don't understand how this wasn't made. I can understand people might say risk, but I don't think. I think stylistically this was no risk. Andy Ruiz fought at the start of September. We're now in December, 3 months, plenty of time. I think that Ruiz has to win over Joshua, so he's known to the UK public. Stylistically, Ruiz he's fast hands, but he's slow feet. He can't outreach Fury. I mean, stylistically, you've got to look at that and say, if you wanted a style for Fury to look good against, it would be Andy Ruiz. And you could say he's more risky than Chisora. He is, but like if Chisora has, say, a 5% chance of even beating Fury, I'd only give Ruiz a 20% chance. I think that's enough to justify the risk, especially if Fury can do it in a better fashion than AJ. You know, if he could hurt Ruiz, drop him, do it in style and say, well, look, you actually had to do it twice with this guy just to get a win. I did it the first time. I just don't see why that wasn't an option.
But then you could argue that if he stops Chisora, they're gonna the contrast of Usyk, saying that I think Tony Bellew had Usyk, didn't he have Usyk losing to Chisora on that night?
That's ridiculous.
So
ridiculous.
He did,
Absolute nonsense.
Tony Bellew had Usyk losing, but he also said Fury fighting twice a year is enough. In his prime, he fought once every 6 months. That's the words he used. So we can't.
Let me throw a question at you, Gene, and you, John, as well. Is Chisora? Would you consider Chisora any better or worse an opponent than, say, a Zhilei Zhang for Tyson Fury? In terms of stylistically, would you say they're kind of on a similar level?
I think Zhilei Zhang has punching power that Chisora doesn't. He's tremendous power in the left hand. And I think when you have someone like Fury who can be dropped, and you have someone even as limited as they might be against Fury with punching power, there's always that chance. With Chisora, I mean, Cooper Pulev, I don't think has an iron chin, but he took plenty of shots from Chisora in there.
Yeah, he did.
Zhilei Zhang's a southpaw. He's a bit tricky. He's got like
he throws a right. Got no gas.
Who? What? Zhilei Zhang?
No gas tank.
Yeah. I mean,
he's deceiving. He's deceiving, though. That's the thing about Zhang. He looks terrible from the eye test, but effective. I mean, I never would have thought Hrgovic. I don't know if it was a combination of Hrgovic looking bad or me underestimating Zhang in that fight.
I think it was a bit of both. And the point I'm making with Zhilei Zhang is the point I'm trying to make with it is everyone's going to come at me and say, well, he could have fought Hrgovic, he could have fought Hunter. Hunter's not done nothing with the last couple of years, so you got to rule him out.
Not his fault.
Yeah, well, it's kind of I know what you mean, but I'm just trying to put Derek Chisora in this crop of heavyweights that people are saying that Tyson Fury could have picked a better choice of opponents. So I'm trying to wrap my head as to who does, and forget about numbers, because Derek Chisora does more numbers than all of these guys I'm mentioning now. So, but stylistically, who brings it? That's what I'm saying.
Zhilei Zhang poses more problems than Chisora, in my opinion. Southpaw, he's got a lightning fast little right hook over the countering like an orthodox jab. He poses more. I think that's exactly, you just hit the point there. It's the style of Chisora v Tyson Fury is all wrong, and it's been proven in the second fight. That's my problem.
Okay. And Fury has a tendency to get hit with the southpaw left. If it's look at the way out of a lane, he was jabbing to Tyson Fury's chest, and Fury was bringing the hands down. The left hand was coming through.
Yeah. No,
but the thing is that Tyson Fury is back, and I see his interview today, and in his interview, just in full contradiction mode, right? Within 10 minutes, he said, it's not about the money. He said it's not about the money. Then straight after he said he's got a book out, he's got chewing gum out, and then he said about fighting Usyk. He goes, Usyk, he didn't fight me for 65 billion. How can you not fight 65 billion? He goes, the next fight I have, when he said, is it going to be Usyk? He goes, it's all about the money, the next fight. He goes, whoever I'm going to get the most money from. I thought 3 minutes ago, you said it wasn't about the money. But then within that, I'm just wanting to stick my head through something. I can't listen to this guy
It's
just
always about the
contradicting
money.
himself. Wait, and then he goes, but then after he's done all the contradicting, he goes, look, I'm living my best life. He goes, I've got a nutritionist, I've got a masseuse that's coming. He goes, the only thing I haven't got is someone to whack me off. He goes, but Isaac Lowe's about to retire, so I got that sorted. Then you're rolling up laughing, thinking, who makes heavyweights like this that can talk like this? And that's what he does. He just appeals because he's so funny to all the masses, and then people are going to turn up and buy it.
That's the thing about
It's
Fury.
always-
Even people I know who don't even watch boxing like him because he's funny. He just has that appeal to people. People just like him because he just has that charismatic, endearing personality.
He's cast a spell over everyone, G.
Mhm.
Like he can lie to everyone's face, laugh 2 minutes later, and everyone's like, oh, it's funny. It's just Fury being Fury. Yet someone else does anything similar to that, like Joshua.
Imagine AJ. Imagine AJ. Yeah, AJ like saying that
Exactly.
1 minute and something the next. If
He'd
you
get
saw him,
ruined.
he get absolutely shattered, ripped to pieces by people.
You're right. If Anthony Joshua, I think Tyson Fury the other day said all the people that are hating on this fight can go suck a fat dick. That's what he said. If Anthony Joshua says that, I reckon that could be the front page of the news. Do you know that?
Oh yeah.
Tyson
He loses
Fury says it.
sponsorship.
Yeah,
Lose sponsorship
yeah, it'll
deals and
be
everything.
massive news. But Tyson Fury says it. He gets away with it, doesn't he?
Look. When we talk about the fight, the fight itself, it's a mismatch. It's a mismatch.
Mhm.
You know, Tyson Fury was able to evade Deontay Wilder's big backhand, right? And that backhand is fast and it's straight. And the closest distance between on a straight line is between A and B is a straight line, right? And Chisora just doesn't throw anything straight. Everything's round the side of the guard. So Tyson Fury is going to see everything coming. Chisora's not going to land a solitary shot in there of any note. I think he'll get up close and try and rough him up a little bit. And I think Tyson Fury will play along with that for a few rounds. And I think he might land some body shots. Yeah, he might land some body shots here and there. But Chisora again is not really a knockout artist. You know, you forget about what happened with Carlos Takam. Takam just blew himself out, and he got caught with that overhand right. But Spilkart is the other one maybe that comes to mind with Chisora, but he doesn't really. Yeah, it was a good one, but it doesn't really starch people. So I wouldn't call Chisora a knockout artist. He kind of wears you down and maybe gets you late or wins on points. But I think he'll have more success in this fight than people give it credit for. Because I think Tyson Fury he's not really as up for this, maybe because it's his mate John, as you said. I feel like there's no spite there like there was with Dillian White. I think he wanted to beat Dillian White up and knock him out. I think that was Tyson Fury's aim going into that fight. But I don't know if he feels that way about Chisora. And I think Tyson Fury is a very emotional fighter. I feel like he enjoys the press conferences. He's either up or he's down, you know what I mean, depending on his mood. And I think going into this fight, I feel like the spite's not there because I think he and everyone watching knows that it's a bit of a mismatch. And I feel like for that reason, I think Chisora has some success. And I even think Chisora can go the distance in this fight.
You really
believe that? Yeah, I believe that. I just feel like Chisora's got a solid chin. He's only been starched once, really, in his career, right? When he gets in trouble, he seems to find a second gear and third gear. I know you look at the Parker fight; he seemed to find another gear. He's a dog. He's a warrior, Chisora. And if Tyson Fury isn't fully on it, and he's not fully trying to knock him out because they're mates, as we say, I can see Chisora doing the distance. Losing wide, though. I don't think he wins any rounds. Losing wide. Good price, 3-1.
3-1.
You don't see
I
that.
can't see it going the distance.
Maybe not. I'm just trying to just evaluate how I feel like it might go in there for Chisora. I don't think he's as bad as people think he is. I think he's the same as Dillian White, right? Is much difference between him and Dillian White? I know Dillian White got starched, but
Chisora ain't coming out snap or mate.
Dillian White's had some good performances in his career, and I would say that Derek Chisora has a better gas tank than Dillian White. I think that's.
Well, I trust Chisora's chin even now more than I would White's.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So
I agree.
I gotta ask because no one is talking about it. I think we're all picking Fury to win this fight, but it's a crazy if Chisora did do it, if the script didn't go the way it did, he chucks an almighty overhand, boom, it lands on Fury's chin and he's out. where would it rate? Like, this would be an upset. Where would it rate in terms of boxing upsets? Bigger than Tyson Douglas?
No.
Yeah,
Not for
it's
me.
good.
No.
I think it would be. Why wouldn't it be?
Buster Douglas
Tyson
didn't really.
Fury's at his.
He didn't fight for a
What,
world
'cause
title. Yeah, he fought Klitschko and he lost before, you know, when he fought Vitali, and he performed okay that night. He won some fans over, and he's been in big fights. You know, he's Chisora. It's not Buster Douglas just come out of nowhere, didn't he? No one really.
12 losses on his record, Chisora.
Yeah.
How old is
Chisora?
Chisora?
He's 38.
Yeah.
It'd be huge.
It's massive. It's massive.
It'd be up there.
It's massive.
Especially for like how good or how good Tyson Fury is at the moment. Because let's get it right. I'm digging the fight out, and we're going to talk about whatever the price $26.95, but I'm digging the fight out. But mainly it's because I think Tyson Fury's so good. Like we were talking about on a show the other day. I think he gives Muhammad Ali problems. People can say what they want in the comments. I think he gives him big problems. I think he gives Mike Tyson problems, Larry Holmes problems. The way he uses his size to his advantage, he is a nightmare. He's a nightmare for any fighter, Tyson Fury. He's just got to go out there and prove it. He's just got to go out there and prove it. And I think what I'll quickly say, something I picked up on in that interview earlier was they said about the IBF. The interviewer said to Tyson Fury, "Are you annoyed that the IBF could hold up the undisputed fight with Usyk?" He says, "I'm not fighting for the IBF. Because I don't have nothing to do with the IBF." So already he's thrown out a little soundbite there that he's not going to fight. He's mandatory is in Hrgovic, even though it's a bit of a nightmare that's been put on him. But already there's a little bit of skullduggery there that he might not face Hrgovic. Then when it was put to him about Usyk, he said, "I don't care about Usyk." He goes, "I'm going to fight the person where I make the most money," even though at the start interview says it's not about money. So straight away, what we get with Tyson Fury, and the hardcore fans pick up on it, is you're maneuvering stuff here. When all we want to hear is go and fight Usyk, go and fight Anthony Joshua, and then beat the pair of them, and then you can sail off into the sunset, and we'll all sit back and go, he was the greatest ever of our era, and then we can all say he would have had great fights with some of those greats. But until he does that, you can't really say that. You can't really say it.
I don't think he can. I think that with his resume, he's beaten Klitschko, Wilder 3 times, and Dylan White. That's it. Like, that's it. And, Fury will always, he can't remember again, True Jordan, he contradicted himself several times saying, it's not about legacy. Don't care about legacy. And then he says, but I'll do something no other heavyweight champion has done. That's legacy. I'll have defended it in 2 trilogies. It's like, he just said it wasn't about legacy. But only he can do that.
Well, what about Ali Norton, Ali Frazier? They were trilogies. What's he talking about? Is that what he said? I didn't see that.
Paraphrasing, but words to that effect. Yeah, he said I don't care about legacy. Legacy means nothing. And then he said, I'll be the first heavyweight champion to defend the world title in 2 trilogies. I was like, Ali Norton, Ali Frazier. There you go. Done.
I mean, look, Ruckman, Lewis springs to mind. Maybe it's as big as that. Maybe it's on that type of level. Maybe not as big as I think Buster Douglas was 40-1 shot to win that fight. I don't think Derek Chisora is that wide. But it's listen.
But then
no one with any brain cell or anyone who's watched boxing at all can give Derek Chisora any chance here. Yeah, I mean, look,
snowball's chance in hell.
Yeah, exactly. I think because of his warrior spirit, I think he does last some rounds. And you're probably right, boys. He might get stopped in the middle to late rounds, but. I hope he lasts the 12 rounds, and I really would like to see Derek Chisora either hang up the gloves then, if he wants one more, go in there with Dillian White and settle that score for one more fight. If he wants one
that's
more
a perfect fight.
That's a perfect.
It's a great fight for Dillian White as well after what he just done against Jermaine Franklin. Didn't he kind of stunk the place
AJ ain't going to be sleeping. He ain't going to be losing sleep over that.
So I think that's a good matchup for the pair of them. They make a bunch of money. And whoever wins moves on, and whoever doesn't, it's pretty much finished after that.
To touch on something John mentioned there, and I've been pretty peeved off about this, and I don't know why, because I'm not paying for it. But the price, £27,
no chance,
and it's not even a decent undercard. Like, I'm kind of a little bit excited about the Dubois fight, just because that Kevin Laraga guy is coming up from cruiserweight, so he should have a speed advantage. So that's going to be a bit interesting to see. But the rest of it is just like, what is this for £27? And Tyson Fury, the man of the people, the people's champ.
This is it.
I mean, coming up to Christmas, we all know we were only talking off air about coffee, how to save money on coffee. And he's expecting people coming up to Christmas to fork £27 out for a pay-per-view. I mean, some people's champ.
Yeah.
And this is the thing with Tyson Fury, and this is the circus. You know, he was going to fight Anthony Joshua for free. It wasn't about the money. You know, he could. I think before he said, you know, he can't fight in the UK no more because there's no stadiums big enough for him. There's no arenas big enough for him. So he's got to be, you know, in the bright lights in Vegas. That was his story to go out there. Nothing to do with the ban, right? Nothing to see here. But now the connections with Daniel Kinahan, he can't be in the US. And now, he's back here for the people. And, you know, it's just gives his money to homeless charity. And now it's cost of living crisis. Everybody out there is like struggling and that, like with money. And it's just all of like the thing is, I will say this. I'm not sure how much control Tyson Fury has over the 26.95 or whether it's a BT, the broadcaster. It's them who's put the money out. But what, fuck off, man. 26.95 for, you know, the second fight wasn't even competitive. Chisora was pulled out in the 10th round. His head jabbed off, lost every round. 26.95.
Listen, I don't think we should. We always mention. Listen, maybe I'm defending Chisora. I want to be on the side of defending Chisora out of the three of us here, because I don't feel like it gets mentioned a lot. That fight, that was a long time ago. That Chisora, and I know Tyson Fury's improved massively since then, and Chisora certainly has as well. So I feel like it's a bit harsh. And he was massively overweight, out of shape. He was a mess going into that second fight against Tyson Fury. So I think he's seeing a better Chisora now. He doesn't drink. He's found God, and you know he lives the life a little bit. You know, he's elongated his career as a result of that. He could have finished 3-4 years ago, but you know, more. So I feel like maybe even more. Yeah, you're right. So I feel like that reference is always like True Geordie did it. And when I watched that True Geordie interview, I'm like, mate, you don't really know what you're talking about, because that was a long time ago, and you're disrespecting Derek Chisora of now, who's been in there with some good opponents. Give a good account of himself. I know he's come up short. I know he's the 26.95 is a ridiculous joke. I wouldn't.
That's what I'm saying.
Certainly won't be paying for it. I might have considered it if the undercard was brilliant. That'd be the only way I'd consider it. Even then, I'd probably say no. But I feel like in life, things always go up in increments of 5. It's either 19.99, 24.99, or it started at 14.99 back in the day. But to add that extra £2, it just reeks of I'm trying to con you. I'm trying to get that extra £2. If 200,000 of you buy it, then that's an extra 400 grand for me. That's what it reeks of, right? You didn't need to add that extra £2. It could have been 24.95. And you're, well, you know, that's just standard. We do, you know, when you go into a shop, something's $9.99 or $14.99, but that $26.95 is what really got on my nerves. It's like you didn't have to do that, man. That was.
Let me say this one thing as well, right? Is that when this was first announced, I remember saying to Kai, I was like, "What?" I was like, and then all of a sudden, I think the next day, I messaged Kai. I said, "You know what? I totally forgot about the Pulev fight." And then when I thought about it, and I watched the Pulev fight back, and I thought, you know what Kai said earlier, like, well, who else deserves it then? Because when you look at Chisora, he has paid his dues. And if you look at that fight against Pulev, like, Pulev is a top 15 fighter. You'd probably say he's top 15, just out of top 10. The guy can fight. Do you know what I mean? He's only lost a couple of times, got a good amateur background. So, but in that fight, he brought it. He really did, Chisora. He put everything on the line. You know, he comes to fight. He's entertaining. How many boring fighters do you see that just stink the place out? He's never in a dull fight. So for that, good luck to him, and good luck to, you know, for having the fight. But I ain't paying $26.95 for it. That's where I draw the line. $19.95. It's just principle for me now, I think.
So how are we watching it, boys? Where are you watching it, G?
I'll watch the old S team. I think you know what that means. I think that's going to be for me, the old S team. I don't normally do that because I like doing the watch-alongs, and I like having a something that I know is not going to buffer when I'm watching it along the way. So normally I do pay, but I'm not this one. And even if it had been a really, really good undercard, I probably still wouldn't have. But I mean, Daniel Dubois, that's an alright fight. Isaac Lowe, he is always on Fury's undercards. That guy literally just waits for Fury to announce a fight, and then he knows I'm on the undercard.
You know, was he his manager the last? Wasn't he going to be his trainer?
I think that was trolling. I think that was just a troll.
Bullshit.
Nonsense.
Right. Just nonsense again, isn't it? How dare I even believe in it?
The Kevin Lorena fight. I mean, Shane McGuigan, I see his interview saying that he wanted
Mm.
Kevin Lerena because of the potential of fighting Usyk down the line. And Kevin Lorena's a southpaw, he's blown up cruiserweight. Usyk's a blown up cruiserweight. If Daniel Dubois gets the call, then he's done a camp, for a southpaw cruiserweight, essentially. So I get the thought process behind it, but I mean, as chief support, I don't know. I mean, apparently they booked the O2 out. Was it the O2? Where's this? No, the fight's in Tottenham, right?
Tottenham.
But wasn't Dillian White supposed to fight Daniel Dubois? And
That was how it was, and from what I heard, that was pretty much a done deal. I don't know what happened, but that was pretty much a done deal. And to be honest with you, right, lads, if I was managing Dubois or promoting him after this Lorena fight is over, I will be saying, right, Dylan, how much do you want? Just how much do you want? Because I want Dubois fighting you in a pay-per-view, because they put it on pay-per-view, because you want Dubois to be your next big thing. There you go. Dylan White still has a bit of a name. Get him in there with Dubois. I think that's a safe fight now with this. I think Dubois would walk straight through him. I think that would be over pretty damn quick. So I think Frank Warren's going to be looking at that thinking, however much Joshua's offering you, I'll match it and the rest.
Yeah, but how does he recoup his money from that, though? You're
That's
going to have to pay Dillian White. You're going to have to pay Dillian White
he's going to have to hope that it's a long-term investment. That I'm investing this money in Dubois now so that in 2 or 3 years' time, when he's still, he only has the one loss, he's still champion, maybe he's picked up another title, then I'm making money on these shows. I think some of them do that. It's a big risk. But if you believe...
It is a big risk.
Look at how much he's believed in Dubois. Look at when Joe Joyce beat him. You're promoting both guys, so you shouldn't really care. Frank Warren looked devastated. He promotes both of them.
Look how that's turned out as well. Look how good Joe Joyce is at the moment.
I know.
And now he's been treated.
Remember how much... I'm surprised he stayed. Do you remember even before they fought in 2019, how much stick the BT Sport team were giving Joe Joyce when he was ringside at the fights? I was like, mate, you're not staying with these. And not only is Joe Joyce staying with him, Frank Warren's got him in pay-per-views now. He's going to fight for a world title. Maybe he get elevated to world champion before long. Frank Warren is a strange one. Terrible man. Horrible man. But he just does not. He doesn't give up. He doesn't give up. That guy just doesn't give up.
Yeah.
If he believes in something, he goes for it.
Yeah, the part we know someone who worked done the interviewing and stuff at the Parker Rider, and they said that was an absolute shambles. Literally no more than 1,000 people there, and they booked the O2 for it. That was what it was. They apparently booked the O2 because they thought White and Dubois was going to fill it out, and that fell through last minute. They've got the booking, so they decided to put Parker and Ryder in there, thinking that that's going to do numbers. And then the way that fight finished was ridiculous as well. I'd like to get your thoughts on that, by the way, G. Now, I know it's your show and you're doing the questions.
No.
What's your thoughts on the way Parker pulled himself out of that fight?
Surprised, because I've seen Parker fight with one arm against Darryl Williams.
Yeah.
And he won the fight. I didn't think he should have got the nod, but he got the nod. So he's shown heart. So I found it strange. And mate, I've never been in a situation where I'm fighting a really, really good fight with John Ryder with a broken hand, and I know there's 8 more rounds to go. I don't know what I do in that situation, so I'm not judging. But I did find it strange that Zach Parker has shown heart in the past. This isn't like Eric Molina or someone like that who's just like, oh, my little pinky's sore, so I'll quit. This is someone who's fought with one arm and won. So I was surprised to see him quit. I have to say I was. That surprised me.
It's madness. And you know what as well? Like, imagine it's your first time at a boxing event. You turn up at the O2, your team Parker. You turn up, you're looking around, all the upper section is closed off. There's seats everywhere, and you're thinking, this is not great. And then 4 rounds in, the guy you come to watch pulls himself out. You're not going back to another Queensbury event. You're thinking, that's terrible. That's shit. I'm not going back to watch this. It was a bad move.
He should have just been there. I see. This is the thing I don't like, is that when you have fighters and promoters who have cards clashing, one of them is going to take a hit. Like a good example would be the Maxie Hughes Kid Galahad fight. I don't think anyone knew that fight was happening because it was going up against Joyce Parker. We all wanted to see that fight. And I think heavyweights have something special. And if you have a decent heavyweight scrap with a decent name, that card was doomed from the start. So Frank Warren
done it at the copper box.
He should have just said, right, you know what, I'll move it forward. I'll put it on the undercard of Fury versus Chisora. I mean, at least we wouldn't have known, obviously, that would have happened, but at least we would have said, you know what, we've got a fairly decent co-main event or a fairly decent undercard if we have Zach Parker versus John Ryder. We'll take that. I think if he was, and if he was smart, he would have put Anthony Yarde on there as well, even though he was only fighting the nobody. Just get names. That's what I say. Even if they're not, just get some names on it. Because I only know Dubois. Who else is fighting on this card? Ivan Mendy is fighting that Ukrainian guy. I can't remember, Baschek or something.
But how much money is left under Frank Warren's mattress? Because it just feels like every show he's doing, you think to yourself, he must be losing money. Do you know what I mean? Like even in the Tyson Fury Dillian White fight, I mean, people saying he's done his beans on that fight. As you say, Anthony Yarde, how many times has Anthony Yarde been out and fought someone? You think really? You know, you just mentioned before Daniel Dubois. Did he lose money on that fight? That was his big hope there, Daniel Dubois. And but the thing is with Frank Warren, he's been shot point blank, lost half a lung, but he will not go nowhere. He's still going to be there, chipping away at Eddie Hearn. As you say, he's got Dubois now nicely placed. He's got the WBA regular belt. He's got Joe Joyce, pole position for the WBO. So Anthony Yarde is about to fight Beterbiev. So he just won't go nowhere, will he, Frank Warren? He's still sort of lingering around there, getting these guys in pole position. So I don't know. I don't know how much money he's got left. He must have done
he's not getting good opponents for his fighters, so that he's paying them peanuts, right? He's flying these dudes in from God knows where. I don't know how much he's paying these dudes. Anthony Yarde's opponent, I don't know how much that cost him. I can imagine it weren't much.
No.
And you go through some of his, Dennis McCann.
Casey didn't throw a punch.
Yeah, it was shocking. It was terrible. So I mean, look, I don't know how he's going to recoup his money from Fury White. He's probably still struggling to do that now. But I don't know. I don't know. I think the one promoter Eddie Hearn should worry about at the moment is Ben Shalom. Really, I think in terms of the British market. I know it's something that you wanted to touch on as well, G. And we spoke about it, John. The British market is, he's doing. Again, I think, are they overspending? Are they spending too much? Is it going to come back to bite them as well? I don't know. It remains to be seen. But
the one thing about Ben Shalom, I have to say, is I think the matchmaking he's been doing has been shocking. I mean, you talk about Frank Warren getting guys. I mean, some of these guys, literally, I look at their box records and think, that's got to be made up. How the hell do you have, say, like, who was it who fought Fraser Clark? He was undefeated.
I knew you was going to say that.
And that was the one. Where did you find these guys from?
I was going to say that.
I think he found him in the burger van outside, mate. He just went out to when we needed an opponent, went to the burger van. When do you fancy it, mate? And
that's a true story. That's not even a joke.
That was a true story.
It was a public workout, wasn't he? The first fighter. Yeah.
So Ben Shalom might be getting these decent, and he is. He's getting a good stable, but Jesus, he is not matching them at all.
I mean, there's some decent ones. Eubank Smith
on pay-per-view though.
Parker Joyce, he had a big part to play in Parker Joyce, didn't he? I thought he was brilliant in that press conference as well. I thought he was really good. He sort of he wasn't too disrespectful to Frank Warren, but he said a few little controversial things up there on the table, which I thought was nice. We want a bit of spice, and I think sometimes he can be a bit vanilla, Ben Shalom. We want to work with everyone, but I think
love to see Ben.
He's only young.
Ben and Eddie together. Yeah. I'd love to see that because it's like two contrasting skills. You got Eddie Hearn, the loud, the mouth. He's got the gift of the gab. And Ben Shalom is younger. He's like the polar opposite. And Ben Shalom, I cannot get away from how every single picture he's in, he always looks so shifty. Ben Shalom is one of the shifty. Ben Shalom is about my age, and he is one of the shiftiest looking guys you'll ever see. I don't even know if he does that on purpose or that's just the way he is.
Yeah. Didn't he
it must be hard
for? When it went to purse bids, didn't he put a bid in for Fury White, or he phoned up to potentially put a bid in? I think I read that story somewhere. I think it was some shifty maneuvers by Ben Shalom to try and keep his name relevant in there. But
to be fair, he had a part to play in the Kell Brook Amir Khan, this Liam Smith fight, and
Shields Marshall,
Eubank
Shields Marshall,
Shields Marshall,
Taylor Cattrall. He got lucky with that though. He got lucky with that. Cattrall wasn't supposed to do what he did that night, so that was.
He came out and spoke well, Kaya.
That's what I was going to say. After the way he behaved after that fight was he really did do him. He did himself excellent. I think he gained a lot of fans with how he behaved after that fight.
Yeah.
Made
and
no
when something shit, he'll say it's shit as well. Like when Fraser Clark dug out his opponent and said,
Yeah.
"You've got to do better." He was immediately behind him, and he got on the mic and he just reiterated everything Fraser Clark said. So when when something came right, he says it, and he doesn't try and waffle his way out of it like Mr. Warham or Mr. Aram or some of the other older senior promoters do. So I don't mind Ben Shalom. Got to give him time, boys. Got to give him time. They've not been going for long, and
he's not been going for long. But do you think that? I think Liam Smith versus Eubank is a great fight, and I think he's doing the right thing because Eubank, his stock even without fighting has risen because of the whole Conor Benn debacle. But pay-per-view, I think that might be reaching a bit too far.
Let's see the price point. What do you think it will be?
I disagree. I disagree.
Really?
I'm happy to pay for my. Yeah, I'm at this. See, I've just jumped from saying that about Fury Story. For this fight, I'm all in. I'm all in. This is for me. I know this is not elite world level fight, and this is a domestic fight. Do you know what I mean? Let's be real about it. This is a domestic fight at the moment. I'm all in though. I'm all in. I'm all over this fight. I just think the stars are going to gel, and we are going to have an absolute bloodbath. And I even think that I have a corner. I want to be ready with a towel in this fight because I'm leaning towards Chris Eubank Jr. I'm leaning towards him. I don't know if we're going to talk about this now. I'm leaning towards him, but I feel like in that fight with Liam Williams on the outside, he just throwing single shots, wasn't he? And I think
he's going to be trained by Roy Jones in this fight again. So expect more of the same.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not sure that's a good fit. I've never been that convinced that's a good fit.
Neither have I. I think he's caught between two styles. And I think the problem with Roy Jones, great fighter as he was, he wants Eubank boxing. And Eubank loves the Liam Smith styles. He loves letting them short punches go. And he's going to be probably overthinking. He wants me to box, but I can land 2 uppercuts right now. What will I do? Will I? Won't I?
And he's susceptible to the uppercut, Smith.
Oh,
I just don't know how good Chris Eubank is going backwards. He's a pressure fighter. I don't know. Maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but he's going to be going backwards a lot in this fight, especially in the first 6 rounds. If this was an 8-round fight, I'd probably lean towards Liam Smith because I feel he's got technically got better fundamentals than Chris Eubank. But I've seen Liam Smith. He's an all-action fighter. He exerts a lot of energy in these rounds, right? He does because he's constantly on you. He's sitting at that mid-range or just out of range, and he's just, he's all action. And I feel like with someone like Eubank, with the weight difference as well, he doesn't fall at 160. I can see Liam Smith tiring towards the end of this fight. And I think that's where it might go a little bit wrong for him. And I can see him potentially getting stopped, Liam Smith.
I think so too. Did you see Eubank at the press conference, the build-up? He has taken what he did with Conor Benn and bringing that forward. I love it. I think
KFC on your jacket, man.
I wish he'd done this. I wish he'd done this years ago because his old trash talking back when he was fighting the likes of George Groves just came across as super arrogant and just a bit annoying. Yeah. This is what we needed back then. This is funny. This is good. And you can see he's already triggering Callum Smith and people like that are already getting pissed off about it.
Yeah. It's light-hearted as well.
Yeah, it's light-hearted humour. I think where was this 4 or 5 years ago? I think he would have done a lot better.
His dad was there, G. His dad was behind him 4 or 5 years ago. Now he can be himself. He can create his own narratives for fights. He can dream up his own, funny stuff that he wants to do and banter and all that stuff. It's all him now. And he won so many fans. I love it. I wasn't a massive fan before this Conor Benn stuff.
No, that was.
I mean, the way he handled it, he just honestly, he was hilarious, and long may it continue.
I think he was out. I don't think there for a while, and he's after reinvigorating himself.
I do think this though. He does make a lot of mistakes, and he is wide open when he throws his punches with his chin way up in the air. And I think he thinks that he's a lot better than what he is. And I think that Liam Smith, I've always been a big fan of his. I think he doubles up the jab well, trebles up the jab. I think he cuts off the ring really well. I think he has that knack where he can just sit on the edge of danger and stress his opponent and make them work for every second. So I think that the early rounds are the most crucial in this fight. Because if Liam Smith can get up on those early rounds, I think it's going to force Eubank to have to do stuff. Whereas if Eubank gets a hold of the fight, I think he might be happy to stay away from Liam Smith and throw those single shots now. But if he's down and he has to commit and come in and throw, I think he leaves himself wide open. I think he's cute enough and he's got a good guard, Liam Smith, that he could catch him. I think he really can. And I don't care. People say how great your chin is. But it's all about accuracy in boxing. If he connects with him, he'll drop Eubank. He will. He will.
And Liam Smith has underrated punching power.
Yeah. I think he's such a good fighter, Liam Smith, but size might be a problem. I can't wait. I'm happy.
It took him a while to get rid of Jesse Vargas, boys.
Yeah,
it took him a while.
Didn't take him long to get rid of Anthony Fowler when he finally cut his range.
That's true.
When he finally got familiar with what he was doing.
Than Eubank.
Yes.
Yeah, he dealt with Anthony Fowler. That's true. But
Vargas is essentially was a blown up 140 pounder.
Yeah.
Even a welterweight, he wasn't the biggest. 140 was probably his main division.
Yeah.
What we think the price is going to be for this pay-per-view? Do you think they'll go easy and they'll go maybe even below, not much below, but below the 20? Or are we looking at £20?
They'd be smart to, G. They'd be smart to make a point and just embarrass BT Sport a little bit here. They've got an advantage to do that.
16.95?
Well, I don't know. I don't think they'll go that much. I wish they did, but I don't think they will.
You're dreaming there, boy.
I think if they go 19.99 and stick, I don't know, Dalton Smith, Adam Azim on the undercard, they're not going to do that.
They're never going to do that, but they'll probably stick Adam Azim on the undercard, definitely. Very good performance the weekend.
Fraser Clark could be on there.
Fraser Clark, Adam Azim. Put Natasha Jonas in a voluntary, maybe.
Yeah.
Manchester, just in a voluntary.
If they do that, as you say, they might. You're right what you said earlier, Kyle. Like everything's going up, isn't it? Like I went Tesco's the other day, and I only bought a few bits. It was like £48. £48. What have I just bought here? It's like everything's going up, so it probably will be like maybe £24.95 now. Do you know what I mean?
Nah,
so,
it won't be £24.95. I can't imagine it'll be £24.95.
I'll pay it. I will pay it. Unashamedly, I will pay it. I really can't.
You're the problem, John. You're the problem. People like you pay it, so then we have to pay it.
I'll have a wait and see what the undercard is like before making my mind up.
Yeah, that's probably.
But potentially, right? We could have the 21st of January pay-per-view, and then a fortnight later another pay-per-view with Sky, with Taylor versus Cattrall. You really think they do 2 pay-per-views in 2 weeks in the space of a fortnight? I don't think they would.
What about Baturbiev Yard? Is that going to be pay-per-view?
No. There was rumors it was, but thank God it's not. We're getting a good January. January is normally, even at the best times, even like 2019, is always quiet. This January, they're all happening.
Thank
we
God.
are getting
December's
fights left, right, and centre.
Mate. Yeah, December's been shocking, so I'm glad for that because boxing for me has been in a real dark, crappy place. We've noticed it in our subscribers. We don't, people are just not YouTubing boxing stuff anymore because it's just so it's so dead. Like everything's falling apart. It's disheartening. It's all the major. How many fights fell away really for us this year? I think
the Crawford Spence and the Crawford Spence and the Fury Joshua were just sucker punches, wasn't it? I think everyone was just I'm done. I'm absolutely done with it. Those 2 fights fell through. So I'm glad January is what it is.
Before we move on and we finish this part about Eubank, rematch clause in the contract if Eubank loses. Now we give Eddie Hearn stick about it. Ben Shalom, I think he's looking over at Eddie Hearn's copybook and saying that I'll have that. What do you think about that non-title fight,
John?
Well, no, it's Kelly Sauerland, isn't it? It's Kelly Sauerland who stuck the old rematch clause in.
Kelly Sauerland.
I don't know. He said I think he got dug out by Ben. Ben had a little pop in, which I thought was quite funny today. Another little a good move by Ben Shalom, but they're just protecting him, I suppose, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? They're the ace side, but I hate rematch clauses. I really hate them. If there's any way you could stop them from happening, but I don't think you're gonna.
I think
the only way they get these fights made.
If the way the board could jump in and say, if a fight is non-title, regardless who the manager, promoter is, etc., we're not putting the rematch clause in. If the British board could just say, no, I'm not giving, you're fighting in an 8-rounder. I don't care if it's on Ben Shalom's show. You're not getting a rematch clause. Tough. If you lose, tough.
Yeah. Mate, it's just the boxing, isn't it? It's the biggest problem with boxing. The boards, the sanctioning bodies, that's the reason a lot of these fights don't get made. I said it on one of our shows recently. I feel like they should call more fights. You know, they just call fights randomly, don't they? Like,
Yeah.
Sometimes rank number 6 should fight number 8, and then whoever wins goes to number 3. And use that ranking system for what it is. Make these guys fight each other, and if you maybe call for purse bids. Say
the ranking system,
days.
I think, is just there to remind people who the top 10 are. It doesn't have to be in the order of who.
I know.
That's what, because you look at it, and you're just like, why is he? Why is he? What the? It's just like,
but
what is
if
that?
they could sort that out, and we might start finally getting the fights we want, or close to getting the fights we want, because I feel like the ranking system should be there for a reason. You're ranked. If you look at any other sport, you're ranked for a reason. Snooker, darts, whatever, tennis. And
you're ranked based upon your ability. You're ranked upon based on what you've done. You're not ranked upon based on, oh, well, you did this and he did this. You're ranked upon, if you're playing darts and you're winning the tournaments, you're in the top 5 based on ability. You're not there out of luck. If you're not winning tournaments, you're way down there.
You're not just put there because someone wants to put you in there. And I think fighters should have to fight to gain a higher ranking. And I feel like the sanctioning body, and it's the same with the British Boxing Board of Control, there should no way be a rematch clause in this fight. For what? For what? It's just going to help. It's going to hold up. If Liam Smith wins, by some chance he wins, it's going to hold him up. He should be able to move on and make a fortune or fight for a world title after that. This is no way a rematch clause type of fight. And I just feel like all these powers that be can just do so much better for the sport. And it's the sport we love, man.
It's the sport we love, like the battered spouse who always thinks it'll change. But I hold on to something, right? 2022 is coming to an end. Thank God it's been a crap year in and out of boxing. But, right, 2016 was a crap year in boxing, one of the worst. But 2017 was probably the best year, probably the best out of all the 2010s. That was probably the best year. There wasn't 1 month we didn't have a big fight. And it came from having a stinker of a year. I think, and look at the way January is getting off to a good start. I think next year I think we could get a lot done next year.
Yeah. Also, there's the threat of the whole misfits and YouTube boxing. And I think that's taken a lot of eyes maybe away from boxing. Because for me, we spoke about on the channel, we don't want to go into it too much, but I can't be bothered. Like some of the fights, like I will watch, right? Tommy Fury's to fight Jake Paul. They talk about his Andrew Tate fight.
Take my money.
I'd pay to watch that. But a lot of the other stuff, it's not for me. For me, that's all a bit of a circus. So, but the thing is because IFL and Boxing Social, they're all following these guys because they do good views. Every time I go on Twitter, my timeline is full of all these crazy kids that are, probably in their early 20s. I'm in my early 40s. Doing crazy things. It's just like I don't want to keep seeing this all the time. So it was putting me off boxing because I had to cipher through all of the nonsense to get to an interview from Josh Kelly or Troy Williamson or something like that. So I was getting peed off with that. And I don't know whether there's a lot of people who are into boxing think just throwing that all in the same pot with the Fury and Joshua not getting made and the Crawford and Spencer just saying, I'm done with the whole thing. So there needs to be a fight back. They need to start making some of these big fights to get people maybe that have been turned off by it.
I 100% get you there. The thing though about misfits, right? I don't watch most of them. I don't even know who half them are. I literally have no idea who some of these guys are. But the one thing I hold on to is that it'll trickle down eventually into real boxing. I'm convinced that some of these fans who are only watching boxing to watch misfits will eventually start tuning into normal DAZN cards. Oh, Sky Sports have a boxing card on. Oh, I'll watch that. Oh, Dalton Smith is fighting whoever. Oh, yeah. And then we get these new fans. And that's what we want. So at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not watching a lot of YouTube boxing. Tommy Fury, Jake Paul, take my money. I want to see that fight. Tommy Fury is going to get battered. But, yeah.
I agree, by the way. I agree. And you know what?
How about John Fury v Jake Paul? Taking his top off.
Going to get battered again. How about if this fight is in the UK and Jake Paul knocks out Tommy Fury? What would John Fury do post-fight? Especially if Jake Paul gloats. The security.
I hope John Fury stands by his son and has some words of comfort for him, right? Something tells me he'll just be too embarrassed and won't go. Yeah, he'll be too embarrassed and he won't go near Tommy or something.
I don't think I sent you guys this. Have you ever seen the Tommy Fury someone dug up his old Facebook posts and it had me looking at it. I'm like, this guy can't be. I'll send you it on Twitter after. I was like, this cannot be John Fury's son. It is some of the cringiest things pictures you'll ever see and things you'll ever read.
What is it? What is it?
That he would catch a grenade for some girl called Megan. Has his lips done in one. And what was it? He dedicated his rugby game to some girl. I think her name was Megan again. And I would look at that like, could you imagine John Fury saying that? I catch a grenade for you, love.
Yeah, no, he's going to get knocked out.
He'd catch the grenade
and eat it.
He'd catch the grenade, eat it, and the grenade would be like, yeah, I'm taking an L there.
But John Fury's so hard, he'll swallow the grenade, it'll just go off in his stomach, and he'll be like, yeah. He'll just, it won't affect John Fury. John Fury's made.
He was so high. Why didn't he climb through the ropes then instead of taking his top off and then taking 3 steps backwards? Hold me back. It's all staged. He's another one though. You can see the apple don't fall far from the tree, like because Tyson Fury is his dad, isn't he? He just like talks in absolute riddles, but totally engaging, and you're hanging off his every word. And then by the end of it, you're thinking, what's he fucking going on about?
John Fury as well. He has that. You just listen to him just to rant. Once you see him angry and you know an interview's coming, you're like, I have to watch this.
Yeah.
I know.
Ask him one question and he can go for like 20 minutes. You don't have to ask him another question. But just to go back to a point about, the youngsters, if they watch enough of this stuff, they might get into boxing gyms and it trickles down. That's always been my thought process as well. And look, my proof of that is that I've got an 11-year-old son, and we watched it. He wanted to watch the KSI, when he did the 2 fights in one night. He wanted to watch that. So we got it. We put it on the TV. As soon as it was done, he was shadow boxing or trying to shadow box in the front room. And if I put on, I don't know, Gulamiri and Egorov, he just walks out of the room. He didn't care. No interest whatsoever. So I looked at it and I thought, you know what? This is exactly my thought process. Exactly what I mean. These youngsters that are between 11 and 16 years of age, they watch this stuff. And if you can get 5% of those guys now going into the local gyms, then surely we win. Local gyms win, and that's what it's about, isn't it? But all the other
for every 3,000 that come and join that these new youngsters, is there a danger that there's 3,000 old farts in their 40s, in their 50s, because it all gets meshed together with all these silly clans, all these circus, all these different kids go, fuck this, I'm not getting out of boxing. I want to go and watch some UFC or something like that. So just because some new ones are coming in, maybe some people might be going out. I don't know. No, I was playing devil's advocate.
I don't think it will. And I think, you know what? I think even if you don't like the way something is, like the YouTube boxer will say, even if you don't like what it stands for, the fact that it's bringing new fans over, you can't hate on it. Like a good example, right? I love F1. Watched it since I was a kid. I do not like the Drive to Survive series on Netflix. It is it does such a bad job of showing what F1 is, but it's given so many new fans to the sport. Like all my friends watch F1 now because of Drive to Survive. I can't stand it. I can't watch it because it's like, this is, you just doesn't make it, the way they do it is not what actually goes on, but it's still giving a new lease of life to the sport.
Okay.
So is it a bad thing or is it a good thing?
I think it will improve as well in terms of the quality of the fighters, because there's some of the fighters on there, they can blatantly fight. You can see that, right? Like KSI can fight, Jake Paul can fight. Obviously, that Andrew Tate, he was in tomorrow. Some of them they can
kick,
fight,
but he can't box.
Some of them, like, they do not know what they're doing in there, and there's probably like a health and safety aspect on it. So
what about that dude that just flipped around? He threw a punch and he done a 360 and he come back around and thinking, where am I? I don't know where I am. And it was just terrible. As I said to John before,
get in the ring,
there needs to be some quality control. If there's quality control, I said it, get Calla and Nissa, they're the ones fronting all this stuff, right? Get them in a little gym. If you want to box on our show, spar 6 rounds in front of me, right? Spar 6 rounds in front of me. If you can hold your hands up properly, you get on the card. But not like, oh, right, you've got 300,000 Instagram followers, you're fighting. No.
You're expecting good old Cali Sarlan to worry about that, yeah? The guy that didn't even pull Chris Eubank out of the fight when he knew about the drug test with Conor Benn. Are you expecting the good man Cali to put it, stop this? I doubt it.
I agree though with you there. If you don't have, I think if you've less than 10 amateur fights, the British Boxing Board make you spar with, I think, is it a journeyman or someone like that, just to show that you're competent.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So they should.
Nothing wrong with
Absolutely.
that, because at least that way you're not going to have someone who doesn't know what the hell he's doing, swinging and doing 360 like he's a ballerina in the ring.
Or
Ridiculous.
stick head guards on them, G. Or stick head guards on them. Some of these lower fights, if they just want to get them in. Because what I do, well, let me just quickly say, is what I do like is that these youngsters, they're having beefs online, you know, they're insulting each other back and forward. And then, I don't know, let's get in the ring, have a good old fisty fight. I like this about, you know, the traveller community and that. So that's a good thing. They ain't picking up knives and saying, I'm going to juke you up and all that. So that's great. But then if these guys can't really fight, maybe they just stick head guards on lower down if they're not going to. Because are they really going to have.
Nah.
Well, they can't fight at all.
No,
so they can have these wars.
Put them on, get them to
There'll
go
be no one on the card then. Like, because none of them can fight.
And then start training. If you want to start earning some big bucks and you want to go on these cards and fight under KSI's card, do some training. Go study it. Go study the sport 3-6 months, 9 months. You'll learn enough to get in there.
Yeah,
not just right. I'll get a phone call. I'm going to do 4 weeks of training and spin round in a circle, end up on my ass. No,
and they could dedicate themselves full time to it as well.
Yeah,
if they're YouTubers, they can easily spend a good 3 months just dedicating themselves. If you can't pick it up in 3 months, even the bare minimum, and you should be on the card.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I wanted to ask you both this, right? I noticed Eddie Hearn recently. Now, you don't really see Eddie Hearn announcing British fighters that much anymore, but we made a big announcement with the Pat McCormack and Dickinson signings, right? Do you feel like Eddie Hearn's now looking at this whole situation going, well, listen, I've got to do something here. This British market is completely running away, you know, with me. Boxers signing up all this next cycle of Olympians have all gone over there. I've got Galauya fight. Didn't look great in his last fight, let's be honest. No. And Eddie Hearn must be thinking, well, because I can't remember the last time Eddie Hearn on social media announced a big British signing, right? And I feel like maybe, as you say, 2023, we might see Matchroom just slide back into the UK market a lot more.
I think they need to. I think it's great for. He's already talked about some of the locations he's putting fights on in the UK next year. I think he needs to, and I think that look at 2016 cycle. Even people who didn't go to the Olympics, they all went. I think 90% went to Matchroom. I mean, the majority went to Probellum, or they went to Benchalon. And when Probellum went, you know what, they kind of. I don't know what some of them have done, but I think they're probably still going to Benchalon or. They're doing this, that, but hardly any went to Eddie Hearn.
Yeah. Hopefully Eddie comes back, because we had what year was it, G? I think you said it was it 2017, 2008. There was literally bumper cards on every week on my TV, part of my subscription. And it's like, we got that this week, that the next week, and you just like rubbing your hands thinking
there was a big fight every single month. Like there wasn't 1 month where you were like, okay, there's a card or two on. There was always a big fight. Like that year, I've probably forgotten most of them, but there was always a big fight every single month that year.
Yeah. And because Eddie Hearn is so engaging, and you could love him or hate him, right? Look at the views he does when he does any of his interviews that he does on social media. He does massive numbers, right? So everyone's watching him, and then as he does his thing, you know, silver tongue, as he talks, he builds up the profile of all these fighters that are on the undercard. You know all about them. So do you know what I'm saying? To come like the fight night, you're invested in the undercards. We said earlier, we don't even know who's on the bloody undercard. Tyson Fury, Chisora, because no one's watching Francis Warren and listening to what he's saying really, or Frank Warren. He doesn't do as good numbers. So like he was carrying UK boxing, Eddie, and he was building the profiles of all these fighters, but. Does it matter now, though? Because has he got such a chunk of the global market? So if you look like at a pie chart or whatever, the UK market ain't massive, is it? So is he willing to concede, I don't know, whatever, 50%, 60% of that slice of the pie, but he's got more of the whole pie of the global market, and he's happy just doing what he's doing over there. He's got Chocolatito Estrada this weekend. Do you know what I mean? So he's still a player. He's still picking up his money, but he's just not in the UK. That's the problem.
I think the UK and the US are where it's at. And I think 100%. You need to have that strong UK market regardless. I mean, there have been times this year where Eddie Hearn has gone home months without putting a show on in the UK. That was unheard of. That unheard of in 2018, 2019.
Where's the big Christmas bumper, boys? The big Christmas bonanza we get every year from Matchroom. Bloody Josh Warrington. against the
that's a
Mexican.
good fight, though. That is a good fight. I give that.
Yeah, but it's a
That
hardcore
Lopez
fight,
is
though, isn't it?
wild, boy.
It doesn't cross over, though, does it? It's a complete hardcore fight. I mean, how many people are going to choose? How many people are going to subscribe to DAZN for that fight?
That's the problem. That's the problem with that. It's such a great fight, and people are not gonna tune in. It's gonna be wild.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it's going to be.
I fear for Josh Warrington in that fight. Actually,
I do as well.
Yeah, I do.
That should be whatever the name of the, like whatever they call the fights, like Bad Blood or whatever, Repeat Revenge. It should be called Wild Night because that's exactly what that fight is going to be. Wild. Yeah.
I fear for him something bad in that fight. I really do. But just think of Lopez. Imagine Lopez, Lara. We get after that. That would be the fight. Because it looks like Lee Wood is going to fight. Lee Wood's probably going to fight Kiko next.
No, I thought Santa Cruz was called. Was it Santa Cruz called?
Santa Cruz is called, but apparently Kiko's vacated his European title. I think that pretty much means Lee Wood next.
Wow. But wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? I don't know. He's gone.
Oh.
G-Man. So we are now hosting G-Man's show.
G-Man Boxing.
You can be G more because you're more Irish. Well, you're Irish, half Irish, so you can.
I'm more Irish than you.
You're much more Irish
than you. I'm 50% more Irish than you.
Yeah. I mean, my kids are part Irish. Go on.
Oh yeah, they are, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. My kids are part Irish. Should we talk about Ireland now? We've got to talk about boxing until he comes back. What was he talking about?
All right, well, I talk about Warrington Lopez. That fight is going to be it's going to be a wild fight. But you know what? I like Warrington. I do, and I feel that that Lopez, when he throws, I don't think he throws anything from the tight guard. Everything is just swinging, looping punches, and that it'll close the distance in a nanosecond. Exciting fighter. But I think that Warrington can just needs to straight punches through the middle.
Gee, we
carried it on, bro.
We continued the show in your absence.
Even when I update it, it still kicks me out. Random, brilliant. StreamYard is brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
What was you going to say about Warrington and Lopez? So I think that if Warrington keeps compact, straight punches, uppercuts through the middle, I think because Lopez is wide open, I find him he's very wild from the fights I've seen him in. I think there's going to be plenty of openings straight down the middle, and I think Warrington just needs to go to him. Don't stand back at all. I know it's Warrington; that's what he does. But yeah, I think Warrington wins the fight, though. I do.
If he's smart, he wins it.
If he's smart, I fear for him. That's what I will say. But it wouldn't shock me if he wins. It wouldn't shock me if he wins, but I fear for him.
Yeah, he's just got to do. Do you know what it reminds me of? These fighters, Ismael Barroso against Anthony Crolla was one that really kind of.
That was a great example. Yeah.
That was one of Joe Gallagher's best game plans. I thought it was just the way he handled that fight, and these fighters that come over and they're all action like Bronco was, and Josh Warrington getting into trade ups with him because he doesn't respect him. I think hopefully Josh Warrington learned his lesson now, and. Because I thought he was getting knocked out in the second Bronco fight. I thought he was a couple of rounds.
He was on the verge. It was coming. It was coming.
Yeah.
Don't it piss you off though that like about a month ago they announced that Bronco was not part of the WBC clean boxing program? Did you see that? And I was all over Lara. I thought like Lara was a savage, innit? Like we said about it on our channel, like how frightening he's been. But when I heard that, I was just like, oh, really? Because it makes sense, doesn't it? Like what a savage he is, the power he's got. Let's see. Let's make sure he's got some proper testing. But it looks like him and Lee Wood might be fighting. No, they was having it back and forward.
But if I put money on it now, I'd be saying Kiko is who he's fighting next.
Right.
Who wins that fight, G?
Right. Do you know something, right? I've wrote Kiko off that many times.
Just not going to do it again.
You think I've learned my lesson by now? But I haven't. I'm still going to say Lee Wood wins. You think I'd have learned my lesson by now?
Yeah, I know. Lee Wood's wide open, though. He's a great, entertaining fighter. I mean, every time I watch the dude fight, it's just brilliant, isn't it? It's just fireworks. Don't blink.
Don't blink.
Watch him fight. Yeah, just but that again, that's another don't blink fight. Don't get out of your seat. Don't swivel your chair around for a nanosecond because anything can happen.
I think as bad as this year's been for boxing, we are going to get a good one next year. I think that a lot of fights in the pipeline, and I think they're going to get made next year. And I think that the start of this year started off so good, and I think next year is going to be much of the same, but it's going to snowball the whole year round.
I hope you're right, mate.
I hope so,
you're right.
bro.
January's brilliant, as you say. What we got? We got Yard Beterbiev. Oh, we forgot about Charlo Tim Zhu.
Right, yeah.
Charlo Tim Zhu. Garcia's probably going to be fighting. Got obviously Beterbiev. We have a big January. Eubank Smith. We've got a big January, lads. And it's rare. Like,
there's another fight as well.
2019 was a dead January. 2018 wasn't much better. So we are getting a good 2019. Our good 2023. We can't complain. Got some great fights.
Plenty to talk about, boys. Plenty
to talk about. Plenty to vids. Plenty of streams. Plenty of growth. Because I was.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, man, you're coming close to 10,000. I see yesterday, guys. There's a lot of people, when you watch these videos, right, you don't hit subscribe, you just watch the videos, because we see with the analytics at the end how many people are subscribers and not subscribers. Do the brother a favour, man. Just hit subscribe. He's so close to 10,000.
We'll stick it on our community tab, and we'll tell our community. You got to do it.
You're so close.
I'm kind of hoping Chisora does knock Fury out this weekend, so I can talk about that, get the views, get the subs. I mean, like, anything to just get that 10K.
Yeah, because you know what, G, don't you? I don't know if you found it as well. When we found it, we look at every other channel as well, and we're seeing if we're all growing together at the same rate, and everyone's slowed down, and it's just a reflection on where boxing is, because people don't give a shit about it at the moment.
I think since AJ Usyk, everyone's a slow down. Yeah. Going into that, it was good. Once AJ Usyk stopped, it just went.
Yeah,
we need someone. We need another fighter to pop for Clomiphene, man. When that happens,
we need Chris Eubank to wear another. I don't know. This time, wear a Greg's t-shirt or something. I don't know. Wear a bloody McDonald's t-shirt, or just do something. We were talking about scraps in the end, weren't we? We were talking about all sorts of nonsense. Just
and if we have a good 2023 in terms of boxing, we have a good 2023 in terms of channels. We all do good. We all do good if that happens.
You can put a shop, G. You know that when you get to 10,000, you can create a shop.
I know. I haven't thought about it though. I've thought about just seeing the 10K. I've not thought about the shop. I don't know what I know. What you should do. Shop.
You get a t-shirt. All right, people.
All right, people. Where's the piss bottle?
I always associate you say every time, don't you? A lot. Every time. I'm sure you say that every time. Every time. Big up G, man. Every time. You always say back.
G, man, every time. Oh, yeah. I don't see. You notice things I don't even notice.
It can be a picture of you sitting there in your jeans. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got the bag.
Mate. Mate, that's my guilty pleasure. I watch him most nights. I ain't gonna lie. I don't tell many people. Everyone knows now. Ty Booth. Mate, have you seen his video on Zach Parker?
Of course,
I tried to tread carefully with these things. I'm thinking I don't want to be disrespectful. He don't give a shit.
No,
he just says it how it is. What he said about Zach Parker, it was bloody hilarious.
Brilliant. When I watched that, I was like, he's done it. He needs to do more of that. He needs to just review these fights, because he actually, when people are trying to analyze things and say this, he's just saying, "Yeah, fuck this." You see what he did?
He's a bit of a comedian, though, isn't it? I think I've seen videos of him doing stand-up.
Yeah, stand-up in the past.
I was watching a video, and he was spitting on his own. He was spitting on his own floor, drinking a drink, and then just spitting on his own floor.
He's got the piss bottle. He's got the piss bottle in the corner, right?
Yeah.
Do you know he drank from that, and someone clipped it out and put it on Twitter?
He
did.
He did.
He was pissing there. He went, oh, man, that was fucking piss, man. That was fucking piss. He just drank from his own piss bottle. It was bloody hilarious. The guy's a legend for me.
He's
a legend.
He is
a legend on here. I love Ty Booth. That's the goal, is to get an interview with him someday. He'll
do it, man. He knows you. He always shouts you out, G. He always shouts you out.
Yeah, we donate. Every single live he donates.
G's got the bag. G's got the bag.
Oh, lads. I only wanted to do this for 45 minutes. We've gone for an hour and 10.
I know. Listen, make sure.
We talk a lot.
Let's do what you was going to ask us about the What's the other fight this weekend? Josh Kelly and Troy Williamson.
We'll do a quick few minutes on that, yeah?
We'll do a quick few minutes and call it.
Yeah. All right.
Williamson Kelly, free to air.
Brilliant.
A fight like that, free to air, that's going to do great views. And I think Kelly's going to get barred. I'm just going to say it there.
We spoke about it on our channel yesterday, and there was a few in the room that was giving Kelly a bit of a chance, but I cannot see how Kelly stops this man from marauding forward, landing shot after shot. Troy is not going to care one iota about what's coming back. The whole fight. He's going to take 2 to land 4. The whole fight.
And he's a big puncher.
He's a big puncher. Solid dude who could probably do 160, right? And unless Josh Kelly's developed knockout power, in his absence from the ring, then there's no other possible way that this fight plays out other than Josh Kelly getting
stopped.
I'm
not just trying to be controversial to disagree. Oh, put that back in. I just know what I think. I think that a lot of people are dining out on Troy Williamson's win against Ted Cheeseman. He got caught a lot in that fight. Got caught clean a lot in that fight. The Mason Cartwright fight, he got caught a lot in that fight.
He lost that.
It's very, very close fight, right? He lost a lot of the middle rounds in that fight. And I think that he's a good fighter, but weirdly, I think he's better going back when he's under fire, okay? Troy Williamson, when he throws at the same time, I think he's quite dangerous. When he goes forward offensively, I feel like he throws a couple of punches and he sort of stays there for a couple of seconds and admires his work and he gets caught. And I think that Josh Kelly is lightning fast. He's got an amazing jab. He's got a wicked left hook. He's got brilliant feet. But what happened against Avanesian, I can't get it out of my mind because obviously down the stretch,
he was having an easy time the first 2 rounds and then he just stopped.
Yeah. But it's a real thing. Like, maybe he did have a problem outside the ring. Maybe like his mental health was a problem. Maybe he wasn't like it does happen. Like people do have off nights. Do you know what I mean? If they're not.
What about Ray Robinson? John? He lost
the Ray Robinson fight as well.
And the last fight he had against Bastida, was that his last fight? Bastida, he was breathing heavy. I noticed he was breathing heavy later on in that fight. And I don't know, he looks quite muscular as well now, doesn't he? Now he's gone up. But I just think he's a better fighter than Troy Williamson. I really do. And I think that if he fights smart and he manages the round, he fights when he needs to fight, he takes a rest. I think when Troy Williamson comes forward, make him miss, tie him up, Tyson Fury style. Make him miss, tie him up. If that Ted Cheeseman fight, Troy Williamson, there was a bit of an ego thing going on. Like as soon as Ted Cheeseman got caught, he tried to stand there and be the big man and trade, and then he got caught. Don't enter that game. Do not enter that game with him. Josh Kelly, fight smart, pot shot, keep moving away from him, and every time make him miss, tie him up, get to points. I think he can do it. I think he can win on points. I really do.
I can't see it.
I've noticed.
You're picking Josh Kelly, yeah, for real. Is that where your money's going, John?
No, yeah, I am. Points.
Wow.
There's a question mark because of the Avanesian, right? But would they go on about the mental health and he weren't training so much? Would they go on about that if it wasn't true? So I'm going to put that down to he had a bad training camp. He's a better fighter than Troy Williamson for me. He really is. But if he's
you can either punch or you can't. You can either punch or you can't. Troy Williamson's got a chin on him, and he's got a never-ending gas tank.
And he gets hit a lot. So he'll lose.
But he's, essentially Josh Kelly's bringing pillows to a brick fight here, in my opinion. I think so.
I think Josh Kelly's bringing a water pistol to a gunfight.
We're gonna have this again, boys.
A potato gun to a shotgun fight, whatever you want to use, right? He might be winning after 4 rounds. He might be 3-1 up.
I could definitely see a case where Kelly early on is winning these rounds, but I can see just Troy Williamson breaking him down, and I can't see Kelly, if this fight is being fought at a pace he's uncomfy with, being able to maintain his speed, his stamina over the course of 12 rounds, and I can see him just getting worn down and stop.
Tie him up. He's got to make him, when he's fighting on the back foot, he's got to make him miss and tie him up.
Is he strong enough to handle Troy Williamson to tie him up and actually be able to keep him under fire up close, because Troy Williamson is huge. He is a unit of a lad at 154.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. That drains your gas tank as well.
It does as well.
Trying to be in that clinch, stopping shots from coming back, just trying to block the sneaky
shots. Are you telling me then, right, let me say this then. Are you telling me that Josh Kelly is a sharper, more accurate puncher than Ted Cheeseman and Mason Cartwright? So he's going to be eating a hell of a lot of shots on the way in. So let's see. You say he ain't got power, but he's accurate. Let's see. I think he's going to cause a lot of damage on Troy Williamson. I really do. A lot of damage.
That's why I'm looking forward to it.
You're going to become a meme, son. You're going to become a meme.
Yeah, this is getting sad.
A lot of people watch G-Man.
Put it as a short.
G-Man's got a lot of viewers. So good for you, mate. You stick with your guns.
We'll see. I'm sticking my head out on this one. I think. But look, with the Avenetian, it is a question mark. But I think he's going to win on points.
But isn't it great? We have a fight like this, free to air. We need more of these. We need more of these.
Listen.
Let me ask you this. Like, be honest, guys, right? I've asked you first, G-Man, right? And then you, Kai, right? Be honest, right? You got your last £20. You got your last £20 and you got your two options. Fury v Chisora or Kelly v Williamson. Where would you put your £20? What would you watch? You can only watch one.
Do you even need to ask?
Yeah.
Kelly Williamson all day.
Kelly Williamson every day of the week.
Yeah.
Easy.
And this is free. It's mad, isn't it?
And it's free to air.
Insanity.
That's the great thing. And hopefully that keeps on going into 2023. That we get these good fights on free to air.
But that Harlem Eubank in his last fight on Channel 5, didn't they done 1.8 million views?
They done some crazy views, yeah.
1.8 million.
Something like that, something crazy.
I didn't see the view count. Wow.
Yeah, 1.8 million.
Friday night, this time of year, free to air, boxing. I mean, even the casual audience be just like, well, why not?
I've got nothing else on.
Nothing else on, yeah.
Strictly Come Dancing isn't on. You know what I mean? It's like, I may as well watch it.
Why not watch the free boxing?
British Bake Off's just finished. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. There you go.
Crufts is not on. Crufts not on this time of year. MasterChef. No, let's put a bit of boxing. I know what you mean, though. If they're smart about it, just grab that Friday night audience. Just keep going, rolling with the Friday nights. Why not?
Friday fight nights, free to air. Good fights. There you go. Yeah. You get a bit of exposure.
Grab a bit of a Sunday as well. Just, try and build yourself outside of these promoters consistently clashing.
Every Saturday night. If it's such a big issue, get the Friday.
Sunday.
Get the Sunday.
Friday or Sunday.
Yeah, mate. Exactly. Cool.
Lads, it has been absolute pleasure. Well,
Thanks
another 40
on.
minutes. We do an extra half hour. Before we finish up, I got to get you guys to plug it. Love Boxing TV. Obviously, I'm going to pin the channel link in the comments as I do.
Appreciate that, mate.
But Love Boxing TV. Anything you guys want to add before you finish?
Johnny boy?
Just make sure you subscribe to G-Man. Get him to 10,000. If you're still here and you're not a subscriber, you're taking absolute Berties. And then after you've done that, come over to Love Boxing TV.
Yeah, I mean, look, we offer something a bit different. Everyone's got their own style of doing these channels. And me and John, we have a laugh, use some colourful language. I've tried to rein it in today because I know G-Man's more of a professional channel than us. We're a bit, do you know what I mean? So I've tried to rein it in a bit today. But yeah, I mean, just come over if you fancy something a bit more louder, a bit more vibrant than other, more schooled channels, so to speak, then give us a go.
People, I enjoyed this.
It's good.
Was thinking, how am I going to get through a Fury Chisora preview? And I found it. I done the Batman call. I got John and Kaya in and made this 10 times easier. So lads, I appreciate you coming on. Hope you all enjoy it. Go get this up tomorrow at some point. So if it comes up during the day, it's got people during the work day. So there you go. Happy out. Lads, appreciate you coming on. For everyone else, we'll talk to you. Peace.